Hey everyone, welcome back for another deep dive. Today we're going to be tackling, that big question that I think a lot of us have thought about at some point.
Oh, yeah.
Does God have a specific plan for our lives?
Right.
We have a popular YouTube video that goes into this whole concept. And I
Mm.
think even if you've considered this before, there are some fresh angles in here.
I think so too.
Yeah.
And one thing that really stood out to me watching this video is that it's not just talking about like God having a plan for us to just get by or something.
Yeah.
It suggests his plan is for us to actually thrive.
Thrive. Okay.
And not just in like one area of life,
Yeah.
but like in all of them.
Yeah, that's a great point, actually, because the video uses the word prosperity a lot.
Right.
I think when you hear that, you immediately think of like financial success.
Dollars and cents, yeah.
But it goes so much deeper than that.
It does. It talks about prospering in our relationships,
Mm-hmm.
Your purpose piece, joy.
Okay.
It really challenges us to think about what a fulfilling life can look like
Yeah.
in like a much broader sense.
Yeah. I like that. And to start off, the video uses the famous passage from Jeremiah 29.1113.
Mm.
The one about God having plans to prosper you and not to harm you, plans to give you hope and a future.
Yeah.
But I thought it was interesting to think about the context of that passage.
The context is crucial, right? This wasn't just some like feel-good statement out of nowhere.
Yeah.
This message was given to the Israelites while they were in exile,
Wow.
during a time of huge suffering and uncertainty. So imagine like hearing those words, promise of hope and a future, when everything around you is kind of like falling apart.
Yeah.
What a powerful message in that moment.
It really makes you think about the weight of those words.
Yeah.
And the video really takes that message of hope and runs with it.
Yeah.
There's this quote that stood out to me. It says, he's talking about prospering in every area of your life and your relationships, your purpose, your peace, and your joy.
Mm-hmm.
What do you think about that? Especially that idea of expanding prosperity beyond just finances.
It's a big idea,
Yeah.
right? And if we really take it to heart, it brings up so many questions like, what does it mean to prosper in your relationships?
Yeah.
Does that mean just having like tons of friends, or is it about something deeper?
Yeah.
Could it mean having healthier communication?
Yeah.
Being more empathetic, having more genuine connections?
Okay.
And what about prospering in your purpose?
Right.
Is it about just finding like a career that pays well, or is it about aligning your work with your values and your passions?
You're hitting on something key there, I think, because the video is trying to push us to expand what we think of as success beyond what society typically tells us.
Totally.
It's about thriving in all of those areas that actually matter for a well-rounded life.
And I think that raises the question, like, what does that look like for you specifically?
Oh.
Because we all have different strengths and passions and aspirations. So
Yeah.
what would it mean for you to truly prosper in each of those areas
Yeah.
the video mentions?
That's something I'm going to have to sit with for a minute. But I do love how the video goes on to use really vivid language to describe God's role in all of this.
Okay.
It says God is like the ultimate author
Okay.
who specializes in turning ordinary moments into extraordinary victories.
Oh, wow.
It's like we're all characters in this grand story that he's writing.
That metaphor is really powerful, isn't it?
Yeah.
And I think it resonates with people because we all have this deep desire for meaning and purpose in our lives, right? We all want to feel like our lives are a part of something bigger than ourselves.
Yeah.
But it also raises some pretty big questions like,
Like what?
well, if God is the author of our lives, what does that say about our free will and our choices?
Ooh, that's a good one.
Are we just passively playing out a script that's already been written? Or do we have some say in how the story unfolds?
Those are deep questions, and I don't think the video addresses that directly.
It does.
I think it leaves that for us to wrestle with.
Exactly. And that's what makes this topic so fascinating. It invites us to think about these big questions and come to our own understanding of how God's plan might work in our lives.
So if you're thinking about this idea of God's plan for your life, what are some things that you're questioning or wondering about right now?
Yeah.
We'll dive into more of this in the next part of our deep dive, so stay tuned. One thing that really stuck out to me in this video is the emphasis on God's plans being intentional.
Oh, yeah.
It's not like things will just vaguely work out.
Right.
There's an actual design and purpose behind it all.
Absolutely. And the video uses this phrase that I love,
Okay.
divine declaration,
Okay.
to describe God's promise in Jeremiah 29:11.
That's
It
powerful.
really elevates it, doesn't it? Like, it's
Yeah.
not just some, suggestion.
Yeah.
It's like a cosmic guarantee,
A guarantee.
a statement of unwavering commitment from the creator of the universe
Wow.
to you.
To me, that is pretty mind-blowing.
It's incredible.
And also really reassuring.
It is, especially because the video goes on to say that these plans aren't dependent on our own abilities,
Okay.
which is a huge relief, right?
It is, yeah.
We don't have to be perfect or have everything figured out to be worthy of God's plan for us.
Yeah, I think so many of us get caught up in thinking that we have to earn God's favor somehow.
Right.
Like we have to prove ourselves.
Yeah.
But this video really suggests that God's grace and power are what matter in the end.
Mm.
Our limitations don't define us.
Yeah.
And they definitely don't limit God.
They don't. It's such a beautiful reminder that we're loved and accepted unconditional.
Unconditionally, wow, okay.
And that even in our messiness and imperfections,
Yeah.
God can still work through us to do amazing things.
That's powerful.
Yeah.
So going back to that idea of thriving, the video makes this point about it being a promise not just for survival, but for abundance.
Yeah.
It's like God isn't just trying to get us through life.
Yeah.
He wants us to flourish and really experience that prosperity we were talking about earlier.
And it's interesting to think about how that abundance plays out in different parts of our lives.
Yeah. Yeah.
We were saying that prosperity is more than just material wealth. And I think the video is getting at this idea of wholeness.
Okay.
It's about being fulfilled in our relationships, finding purpose in our work, and cultivating inner peace and joy
Okay.
that isn't dependent on external circumstances.
But those external things don't really matter. I love how the video brings back the imagery of God as the ultimate author.
Yes.
It's like even in our everyday routines and challenges,
Yeah.
there's this grander story unfolding with divine purpose. And there's this potential for beauty and meaning that we can't even see yet.
Right, and that idea that ordinary moments can become extraordinary victories.
Yeah.
It makes me wonder, are we missing those moments? If we're not paying attention,
Yeah.
are we just going through the motions each day?
Right.
Or are we actually looking for those opportunities for growth and transformation that God might be putting right in front of us?
That's a great question. I know that for me, I often get so caught up in my to-do list and all the little stresses of daily life
Yeah, it's easy to do.
that I forget to look for those sparks of wonder or those moments where I feel truly connected to something bigger than myself.
And I think the video is saying that those moments are all around us
They are?
if we just open ourselves up to seeing them.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's about shifting our perspective from what we think is possible
Okay.
to what God knows is possible.
I like that there's this one line that I wrote down from the video.
Okay.
It says, "Your current situation is not your final destination.
Ooh.
Your present challenges are not your permanent reality."
That's so good, especially when you're going through something difficult.
Yeah.
It reminds us that we're not defined by our setbacks or current circumstances.
Yeah.
We're defined by our resilience, by our ability to overcome challenges, and by the growth that we experience through those tough times.
So it's about looking ahead, it sounds like.
Yeah. It's like the video is giving us permission to dream bigger,
Dream bigger.
to believe in a future that's brighter than we can even imagine right now.
Yeah.
And that's where faith comes in.
Okay.
It's not just about believing in God, but believing in what God can do in and through our lives,
Yeah.
even when we can't see the full picture.
So how do we cultivate that kind of faith?
That's a big question.
Yeah, especially when things aren't going our way.
Right.
Or when we feel lost or uncertain about the future.
I think that's something that so many people struggle with.
Yeah.
It's about learning to surrender control,
Okay.
embracing the mystery of the journey,
Embrace the mystery.
and trusting that even if we take a detour or stumble along the way,
Yeah.
we're still ultimately heading towards that destination that God has planned for us.
So it sounds like a lot of this comes down to trust, right?
Yeah, really, Tom.
Trusting that even when we can't see the whole path, God is still guiding us.
And that can be so hard,
It can.
especially when life throws you those curveballs
Yeah.
or when we feel like we've messed things up.
Yeah.
But, the video reminds us we don't have to have all the answers.
Okay.
We don't have to be perfect.
Right.
And we definitely don't have to figure it all out ourselves.
No.
We can just lean into that trust
Lean into it.
and let it guide us.
It's almost like taking a deep breath and letting go of that need to control everything.
Exactly. It's about surrendering control and embracing the mystery.
Embracing.
Knowing that even if we make mistakes or take some wrong turns, God can still use those experiences to shape us
Yeah.
and guide us towards something even better than we could have imagined.
I like that. And the video ends with this really inspiring call to action.
Okay.
It says, lift your head high, square your shoulders, take a deep breath.
I love that.
It's such a simple but powerful image of just stepping into your potential
Yeah.
with confidence and courage.
That's like a pep talk from God.
A pep.
Like a reminder that we're not alone in this.
Yeah.
We have a God who knows us by name, who loves us unconditionally, and who is cheering us on every step of the way.
It's about recognizing that our best days aren't behind us. They're ahead of us.
Right.
That our greatest victories are still to come because God is working behind the scenes.
Yeah.
To create a future that's more amazing than we could ever imagine.
The video says our most significant moments aren't memories.
Ooh.
They're still to come.
Okay.
Because God's plan for us is a living, breathing reality.
Yeah.
It's unfolding day by day.
That's powerful.
And that plan is for good.
For good.
To prosper us, to give us hope and a future.
This brings us to the end of our deep dive, and I have to say this has been a really thought-provoking conversation.
It has. And, even though the video we discussed gave a specific perspective on God's plan, I think those themes of purpose and meaning and trust, they resonate with anyone who's trying to figure out their place in the world.
So if you're listening and you're thinking about God's plan for your life,
what
can you do to explore that further?
That's a good question.
Yeah.
I think it's important to remember that this is a journey, not a destination.
Right.
There's no one right answer.
Okay.
And it's okay to have doubts, to ask questions, to wrestle with these things.
Yeah, I think that's a good reminder.
Maybe you can start by thinking about your own values and aspirations.
Values and aspirations.
Like, what truly matters to you?
Yeah.
What brings you joy?
Yeah.
What kind of impact do you want to have on the world?
Those are great starting points. And I would also encourage everyone to just keep an open mind and an open heart.
Yes.
Be curious. Explore different perspectives and see where it leads you.
And remember, even if you can't see the whole path yet, trust that you're not alone.
Right.
There's a loving force guiding you, cheering you on.
Yeah.
And working to bring about something amazing in your life.
Thank you all for joining us on this deep dive.
Yeah, thanks for being here.
We hope it's given you some things to think about and maybe a little inspiration to embrace all the possibilities that are ahead.